Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Wankel, sorry, 1 minute, what a night we're having here tonight folks. Yeah, welcome to the Wankel Australia-New Zealand Championship, coming to you live from Montreal for round 8, and as you can see at the moment the guys are out there in qualification, or qualifying, and yes, I thought I lost our overlays there for a moment. But as always tonight, folks, it's myself, Bernie Weemers, calling all the action, and we have Danny Trim in the comm box with us. Welcome, Danny. It's been a bit of a rocky start, mate, but it's going to be a fun night.
Good evening, Bernie. Good evening to all the spectators out there tonight, and to the teams and drivers.
Yeah, then we can see the guys are out there now qualifying. We can see, having a look at the field we have out there at the moment, we've got about 18 drivers in qualification, as we just saw Braden Bateman there sign his name in the Wall of Champions, and we don't want to see that during the race, but he's got the car quick repaired and he's back out again. But yeah, 18 drivers tonight, and Tim Delisle was the fastest in practice.
Yes, currently standing in first place is Gary Hamilton, very closely followed by about a tenth of Craig Edwards. I believe both those gentlemen are actually in the lead for the championships at the moment.
Yeah, exactly right. They certainly are, and we'll have a quick look at that championship, and we'll see exactly how close this standings are at the moment. So, as you were saying, Craig Edwards is leading at the moment. He's had 3 starts, 1 win, and 3 top 5, so he's got a total points of 127. Keep an eye on Gary Hamilton tonight, though. Again, 3 race starts. He's had 1 race win and 2 top 5s, so he's 108 points. In third, we've got Tim Delisle. He's sitting there on 100 points. Fourth, Christopher Oon on 85 points, and rounding out our top 5 is Ewan Norolampi, and he's got 80 points.
It's certainly getting close up the front there.
Yeah, there's not a lot to play for, is there? And we're already up to round 8 of this season, so the guys are definitely going to want to capitalise. Looking at our top 3 at the moment, it's Gary Hamilton, Craig Edwards. He's only 1/10 of a second behind Gary, but check out Tim Delisle. He is 2/10 behind him at the moment, so not a lot of room to wiggle, so to speak, here in qualifying.
No, he's just actually crossed the line, doing a 49.2, so I think that was a bit of a cool down lap there.
Yeah, I'd say it was, and we can see Gary out there now. We'll bring up the quali lap here. He is on a flyer at the moment. As we were saying, he's provisional pole with the time 1:32.905, and that's quite a fast time out there, Danny.
It is, Bernie. It's look, they were running a little bit quicker in practice, but that was obviously with the draft involved. These cars are very good in the draft.
Yeah, they certainly are, and you can see he's out there at the moment running now. As far as the qualification here goes, folks, they have 15 minutes to qualify. They get 4 laps to set their fastest time. Now, we're talking a bit off air, Danny, before we got it set up here, and there's 2 trains of thoughts when it comes to qualifying in these cars. Some of the guys I was telling you will go out and do 1 fast lap, bail out, get some tyres and do another one, and others prefer to go out there and just do it all in 1 stint, put down their banker lap, and then go from there. But you can see at the moment one person that is on a flyer is Ewan Norolampi. He's just jumped to 2nd fastest, and his time was a 1:32.954, and he's on another flyer now.
Yes, it's actually Gary Hamilton is still leading pole. He's certainly got a lot better. He's now down to a 32.7 on his 4th lap on the tyres.
Yeah, so he would have completed his qualifying now. We can see Ewan Norolampi coming down Casino Straight now, going towards the Wall of Champions. We'll see if he can better that time. So far, 122, 124. No, he's bailed on that and he's gone straight to the pits.
Yes, I think he must have been down in his sectors there and decided it was much better to just come in and have another crack rather than go out again on the same set.
Yeah, I'd say so, definitely. And of course, another person out there running tonight, folks, is Alex McKellar. You can catch him live on Twitch TV at the Top Split TV. So /Top Split TV. Bring it up side by side with our broadcasts, and you'll get an idea of what's going on at his end of the world during this racing. At the moment, though, he's qualified 5th, and Danny, he's been showing a lot of pace, and he's really taking to this car. And looking at the times, he's not that far off.
No, not at all. And I've actually noticed, looking at those times, Bernie, that he's actually gone a 10th quicker than what he actually managed in practice. So I think maybe he was practicing on his heavy race load rather than a quick, light quali load.
Yeah, I'd say so. Now, when you approach your quali, how do you like to approach it as far as setting your car up for qualification? What's more important to you? Is it the quali setup or the race setup?
Well, to me, the race setup is far more important. The quali setup, you're in it for 2-4 laps, that's it. The race setup, you're in this car for 30-40 laps. It's much better that you've got a handle on that car that you're going to spend a lot of time in, rather than just a 2-lap flyer. Again, when setting your car up, you want to make sure that your car is stable and looks after its tyres for its race set, whereas with the quali set, you can allow it to just chew those tyres out because you're only going to be in it for a short time.
Okay, yep, sorry, I'm struggling with this software at the moment. Yeah, if the folks are wondering why I'm struggling so much tonight, we're actually running with ATVO tonight, folks. New piece of software. It's going to take me a bit of time to get my head around this, but yeah, so you're basically saying it's a race setup's more important than the quali at this point.
By far. I mean, if you have your practice, your starts, you have them down pat, you can allow to forgo a position or two on the grid, knowing full well that you may very well get that back before you come into the turn 1 on lap 1.
Yep, and especially when we've got a field of 17 drivers will take to the grid tonight. It's qualifying around Montreal is always important, but it's probably a different story compared to the V8 supercars. A couple of weeks ago we were here for the AOSC. We had about 52 V8 supercars take to this track, and that's when quali is extremely important.
Oh, it is. I mean, the last thing you want to do in a V8 supercar is be stuck mid-pack, where they all go into turn 1, especially on this track. You get bunched up. In mid-pack, you can get caught up in so many other people's dramas. It's much better to either be at the back where you have the room to see, or ultimately right at the pointy end of the field, and you can lead the way.
Yep. We're just seeing Tim Delisle out here, currently sitting in third. He is on a flyer at the moment, folks, in the Huskenveld entry. And so far he's coming down to the hairpin, and he's so far ticked up 1 minute. So we'll see what he can do here. His target, 1:32.730, and looking at Tim's fastest time is a 1:32.987. So not a lot in it, and we'll see what he can do. He might have even rolled out of it.
Well, looking at the timesheet, he was actually the fastest in practice with a 1:32.355. So he certainly has what it takes to put the car up on pole. Oh, he's got a little bit squirrely there. He's just skimmed the World Champions.
Yeah, we were riding on the gyro cam there, and we saw him throw it in there, and that cost him, that little problem there cost him 3 seconds. So it wouldn't have only been that, it would have been that whole lap. So quite an untidy lap there for Tim Delisle. He's going around again and having a look. The only other car on the circuit at the moment is Craig Edwards, and he's just dived into the pit. So I'd say it's more than likely Tim's just using up the time here to try to get used to this setup. And of course it's a fixed setup here, so the guys don't get to tune them. So it's more to how the driver can adapt their driving style to the setup to get the most out of their car tonight.
I'd just actually like to give a quick shout out there to Ryan Walker, who's viewing us from Northern Ireland, and Jim Kraken, viewing us from Chicago in the US. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yeah, welcome, guys, and a good morning in Northern Ireland. And I'm not sure how early it is over in Chicago, but I'd say it's probably pretty early in the morning there as well.
Well, the grid is now set. Qualifying just coming to an end.
Yeah, we can see now Tim Delisle coming down the Wall of Champions again. Full kilter straight into the pits. He was practicing his pit entry there. So qualifying has, as you said, pretty much come to an end here. So we'll go through the grid. So the viewers out there, they can see exactly where the favourite driver will be starting tonight. So looking at our grid tonight, Gary Hamilton takes pole position. He'll be joined on the first row with Ewan Norolampi from Finland, starting out of second. Got Tim Delisle starting in the second row from third. He'll be joined with Craig Edwards next to him. Out of the third row tonight, we have Alex John and Alex McKellar. He'll be starting next to him out of sixth position. Out of seventh tonight will be Philip Stoneman. Then we've got Braden Bateman starting down there in eighth position, followed by Robert Crouch in ninth. Brock Kramer, he's going to start out of 10th tonight. Then out of 11th is Joseph Falcomada, followed by Alexander Bird starting out of 12th. Out of 13th, Wayne Taylor, followed by Mark Noble starting in 14th. Les Peck, he'll start out of 15th tonight. Tim Awima, 16th. Mark Pavlovich will start out of 17th. 18th is Brodie Whitmore. And that is your grid, folks.
I noticed a name there that you mentioned, Bernie, in 8th place, Braden Bateman. I believe that tonight is actually his first time in the car, and he's actually done no practice at all. He's jumped straight into the pre-race practice, then into quali, and he's managed to get the car where it is. I think that's actually quite a good effort on Braden's behalf.
Oh, it's an excellent effort, isn't it? And these cars, they take a lot of getting used to, and the reason for that is the high downforce. And when I speak to a lot of the guys, they say they really have to trust that these cars are going to hold on. They do, but guys new to the car, they'll find themselves getting outbraked a lot by the more experienced drivers here. We're just waiting now for starters' orders here at Montreal, folks. As far as this race goes, there is one mandatory pit stop, and that is for fuel only. So expect them all to come in. The pit window opens when the green light drops, and we're about to go racing, Danny. Revs are rising here, mate, and let's see how they go. Okay, so we go here at Montreal, and oh my goodness me, these overlays are going to murder me. So 23 laps here, you can see Gary Hamilton, he's taking a very good line there. He's actually bolted, hasn't he? And looking further back here, we have the Preacher, that is Ewan Norolampi in second. He's defending from Tim Delisle in third at the moment. Joseph Falcomada, another exciting driver, fourth, and that is your top four.
Yes, I think I'm quite glad they all got through the first section of corners. It can be quite hard getting through those two sectors when you're side by side, but they've all gone to single file relatively good and smoothly.
Yeah, it's been a nice clean start there, isn't it? No, I made a mistake there, folks. It's actually Craig Edwards sitting in fourth. There's been contact further back as well. Was trying to get a number there. There's, I think it's a number 17. Is going extremely slow. It looks like he's collected the wall on the exit there. I'm just not sure who that driver was.
Car 17 is Tim Delisle.
No, it wasn't Tim.
Oh, sorry, in position 17 is Mark Pavlovich.
Yeah, Alex John. I've got him on the camera now. We'll jump back and have a very quick look at what has occurred to him, but he's carrying a lot of damage as he limps down Casino Straight here. So we're just going to have a look at this replay, folks, and see if we can pick up exactly what's happened to him as he's coming through. And yeah, he's just got it crossed up there heavily into the wall, just out of camera view, and that's going to put pay to his tilt here tonight. Of course, he's got one fast repair, he'll use that, but as far as getting a good result, I don't think it's going to be Alex's night.
No, we've actually got Tim having to pit for repairs, Alex having to pit for repairs, Brock Creamer and Braden Bateman all having to pit at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, now remember they may have done their mandatory stop. Looking at their times, that's what I suspect they've done. Tim Delisle 11.9 seconds, Braden Bateman 13.2 seconds, Brock Creamer 11.7 seconds, so that could be their mandatory stop.
Yes, I believe I heard Braden actually mention over the radio that he had actually damaged his car, so he definitely had to stop all repairs.
Okay. So looking at your top 10 at the moment, folks, Gary Hamilton, he's bolted 1.4 seconds in front of Craig Edwards. Then we have Ewan Lampy, he's 9/10 of a second behind Craig. Robert Crouch sitting in 4th. Alex McCullough moved from 7th up to 5th already on the march. Philip Stoneman in 6th. 7th is Wayne Taylor. Joseph Falcomata sitting in 8th at the moment. Alexander Bird, rounding out your top 10 is Les Peck.
Yes, maybe you happen to mention there, Bernie, I'm quite familiar with Wayne Taylor. I believe he's another person who hasn't actually done any pre-race practice right up until the open practice session before qualifying. And I was actually under the impression that that gentleman was actually meant to be racing the V8 in the OSR series tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously you caught him out here because we've got him on the screen and he's definitely not in the OSR tonight.
No, that's not a V8 if he's in there. It's missing a few guards if it is.
Yeah, that's right. They definitely don't sound like a V8, that's for sure. But yeah, doing a good job there. Wayne Taylor sitting in 7th. He's got Joseph Falcomata catching him though, and we'll see how this battle transpires. And then of course Alexander Bird. But looking through the field at the moment to find where these battles are, they're really getting spread out, aren't they?
They are. I've noticed there's quite a few groups of 3. They're drafting off of each other. They'll lose the draft from the cars in front, but these little packs are still starting to form. Yeah,
we'll see that through the race. Just having a look at our chat channel. Welcome to everyone joining us tonight. Hope you're enjoying the RRTV coverage. Your commentators tonight is myself, Bernie Weemers, and we're joined by Danny Trim up in the comm box with us.
Good evening, gentlemen.
So just having a look, we can see Alex McCullough at the moment. He's having a good battle here. He's in between Robert Crouch in 4th and Philip Stoneman, just trying to close in. But we'll jump on board with Alex and have a look at how he's going. Of course, if you want to see what he really looks like, go over to twitch.tv/TopSplitTV and you'll see him in all his glory.
He's actually moved up one position from where he started, starting in 6th tonight. He's now currently in 5th place.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and as I was saying before the start of the race, he's really taken to this car. He really enjoys driving it. See him as he comes through the hairpin now onto Casino Straight, spins up the wheels a little bit. Now, of course, the scary part, or one of the scary parts on this track, of course, is the Wall of Champions. It's not for the faint-hearted, is it?
Absolutely not. I mean, if you don't get your line correct through there, there is just absolutely no room for error. Why it's earned its name, the Wall of Champions. Quite a few famous drivers have actually ended their race in that wall.
Exactly right. We saw Braden Bateman do that in practice. He signed his name along that wall, so to speak. We can see now just behind Alex is Philip Stoneman starting to close in. I think Robert Crouch, he's actually pulling away from these two, and it's becoming a battle between the two of them.
Yes, He's actually managed to break that draft, I think.
But meanwhile, folks, up front, it is all Gary Hamilton. He has absolutely bolted. That gap last time by was 2.1 seconds from Gary back to Craig Edwards. And Craig's also got about a 2.1 second gap to Ewan Orolampi. So, yeah, the top three are very well spread out. But, of course, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Tim Delisle in 13th, who's already done that pit stop. And if they've come in and had a bit of damage and they haven't lost a lot of pace getting to the pits, they're still in this race.
Oh, it certainly is, Bernie. It's still in anyone's hands at the moment. As we know, we could all make a mistake entering the pits for our stop and overshoot our box, and then it can just be Rock City from there as far as the standings go.
Yeah, exactly right. And we'll just have to see how it's playing out. One thing that isn't playing out for me tonight, though, folks, is this overlay package is driving me mental. But we'll do what we can do.
And I can see we've got a couple of international drivers in the field tonight, Bernie.
Yeah, we certainly do. We've got Ewan Orolampi. He's joining us from Finland. So that's the first of the internationals. Who's the other international you can see out there?
I just lost him, actually.
Okay. So I know Ewan Orolampi is definitely from Finland, sitting in third position. He's had quite a bad, unlucky run, you could say, in this series. He generally has come to grief due to netcode issues when he's racing toe-to-toe with a lot of the Aussie guys, because of course they're on the Australian server here and he's joining them from Europe, so his ping would be quite high.
Yes, I know when we race, Bernie, we quite often actually have a look and see where the drivers are coming from, and we check out their ping, just so we are aware to give those guys a little bit more room, because quite often what can be happening in front of you with the ping can change.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right, and you can see it. They can disappear, which is one of the scary things, because you just don't know where they're going to reappear, or they can actually look like they're coming closer to you and then moving away, and it can be very, very disconcerting as far as a driver's concerned if you're battling at the time that can be unfolding in front of you. Yeah, shout out to George Gibbs as well. Good morning, George. George is also, I think, from the United States of America, so great to have your company with us once again tonight, mate.
I've just seen, Bernie, we've actually had a car in the wall. Tim Aruma.
Oh yeah, he has hit the wall big time, hasn't he? And we can see the aftermath of that damage, and yeah, the Venom car has been bitten, I'd say. And it looks like he's retiring that car. Yep, he's out of the car, and he's decided to call it a night.
Well, sometimes that is actually for the best, and by the time it takes to repair the car, especially if you've used your fast repair already, all you'll end up becoming is a rolling chicane for the other competitors, because you have to yield to them. The race becomes unenjoyable for you, and it's just not fair on the other guys to hinder their race when you are laps down.
Yeah, and quite honestly, these sprint races, if you have to get these cars repaired, your race is pretty much over at that point in time anyway. So at the moment, though, we can see Gary Hamilton is leading. He's led pretty much from start to now. Lap 8 of 23. We're about a third of the way through. The cars that have pitted: Tim Delisle, Joseph Alcamada, Braden Bateman. He also had some damage to be repaired. Brock Kremer and, of course, Alex John. But Alex, he had a lot of repairs he had to make to that car, because he clouded the wall in turn 9 very heavily indeed.
Gary's lead is out to about 1.2 seconds now.
Yeah, he's absolutely bolted, hasn't he? But looking back here in position 5, we can see Philip Stoneman now. He's closed right up on the back of Robert Crouch, and he's got the pace, Philip has, and he's going to be making a move here very, very shortly.
Yes, I think he's just shown his nose there to try and upset Robert just in front of him. It's always a good tactic when you are behind the car so close to make sure you fill their mirrors and distract the driver by having that flash in their mirrors, and quite often they'll miss their braking marker.
You can see now he's coming down the inside, side by side, coming into the Wall of Champions. He takes that position and moves straight up into 4th, and you can just see the pace he's got in that Sim 737 entry, and he's already starting to pull away from Robert. And of course, once they get into the trickier part, I'd expect to see that gap lengthen.
He's certainly doing a really good job out there.
Yeah, he's definitely flying, isn't he? Looking at the times, his last lap, it was a 1:34.085, about 2 seconds off the pace of Gary Hamilton's last lap, which was a 1:32.937. That's in qualifying territory already.
So that man just knows what he's doing. It's clear by the way he's driving, putting that car exactly where he wants it, lap after lap.
Well, exactly right, and that's one of the reasons why he's up there battling for the championship. He's consistently quick, and he's getting those results once again tonight.
Absolutely. With Craig again right behind him in 2nd place, the championship is that close. You couldn't place a solid bet on which one of those guys is going to walk away with it at the end of the series.
Exactly right, and I think the only thing separating these two in points, of course, is the top 5. I think Craig has one less top 5 finish than Gary does, but of course, while Gary's leading this race, remember, he's already got a bonus point for taking pole position. He's also got another, I think it's bonus point for leading a lap of this race. So he's 2 up already on Craig. If Craig can get past and lead a lap, he will get 1 bonus point. Now, all these points, when you're talking about how close these guys are, these points can be the difference at the end of the season between winning the championship and being the bridesmaid.
Oh, exactly that. When these guys are racing tooth and nail, at the end of the day, it can come down to minor points at the end. And the last thing you want to be doing at the end of the season is seeing yourself sitting in 2nd, thinking what could have been if you'd have just managed to get a couple of laps lead throughout the season.
Yeah, exactly right. And, you know, as I was saying, they're separated by 20 points now. If Gary wins this race tonight and Craig finishes where he is, he's going to stretch that lead by another 10 points. But I tell you what, if Craig can snatch the win tonight, that deficit is going to close right up. And these guys will be separated by probably about 12 points as Gary Hamilton now dives into the pits and he's coming in for his mandatory stop. It was interesting, he waited till the last moment to dive in. Craig Edwards continued out. We'll see if Ewan Lampy. No, he continues on. He does not react. He probably doesn't know Gary's in the pits at the moment. But let's have a look at Gary's stop here, because it's going to be important. As he comes out now, he was in, no, that's pit lane. We can see him now stopping. The target he's looking for is about 11.9 seconds. Let's keep an eye on Tim Delisle. He's coming past the Wall of Champions now. Gary Hamilton's out now. He's stopped 11.6 seconds. Where's Tim? Tim's just coming down now to the S's, and Gary has just got in front of him by about 5 car lengths.
Yeah, that was an absolutely perfect stop there done by Gary. There was no mistakes at all. He hit his pit speed limit right on the mark. He hit his pit box right on the mark. And again, straight out of that box, no wheel spin, straight back onto the track. Yeah,
and I think one of the reasons why Craig did not react to that, because of course when he went across the start-finish line, he would have got that bonus point for leading a lap of this race. And as we were saying, those points all add up. We'll see if he comes through now and takes the pit stop, and see if he feels he needs to react, or he's going to continue. He's going to continue and see if he can try and get a bit of a gap on Gary through raw pace. Of course, Danny, they don't take tyres, so the undercut's not going to play a part here tonight.
No, but what he also may be doing is allowing for the fact that he's got such a clean air gap in front of him, whereas Gary's actually come out behind other cars. He's probably using that clean air to his advantage as best he can.
Yeah, definitely, and we've got a spinner down in the S's. I did not get the number, but I think who was that? Just trying to work that one out. Of course, I haven't worked out the replays on ATVO yet, folks, if you're wondering why you're not seeing those, but I'll definitely get those sorted out post-haste so we can bring you this action.
Now, I've noticed Wayne Taylor currently in 9th place and Les Peck currently in 10th have both just entered pits.
Yeah, you can see Wayne there, and hear him revving. He choked as it left, and as he dropped the throttle. He's also carrying a bit of rear wing damage on that car. If you have a look from the front of it, it's got quite an interesting bend to it.
Looking at the way it's actually bent, I think that would actually be giving him a little bit more downforce at the rear. Whether he could use that to his advantage or whether it's just going to create more drag, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, well, the thing is, around a circuit like this, I don't think you'd be running very low downforce anyway.
Wayne's in the wall there, Bernie.
Yes, he certainly is, and we'll try and get back and have a look at what happened here. If
I think what he's done is he's gone out, he's taken tyres, used to the tyre temperature that he built up into his tyres. On the cold tyres, he's simply just spun.
Yeah, we're going to have a look at that replay now. We've picked him up just as he left the pits, and of course coming down here, yeah, he got two wheels into the grass, and then it just jinked to the right and straight in the wall. And of course, a circuit such as this, once you hit the wall, there's absolutely nowhere you're going to be going apart from the other wall, and he proved that right. But at the moment, Alexander Bird is leading. While we're looking at that action, folks, Gary Hamilton has moved back up to second. Craig Edwards pitted. He's come back out, slotted in second position. But Tim Delisle, he's coming into third position once it cleanses. And Ewan Norilampi, he's dropped right down to fifth. So he's... Tim Delisle now is slotted straight back into third and is looking strong.
These guys certainly know how to pilot their machines, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do, and we've got 10 laps remaining here tonight, folks. And it's going to be interesting because Tim, he was one of the faster guys during practice, and we'll see what he can do now that he's got a sniff of Craig Edwards' exhaust pipe here. Of course, Alexander Bird is leading the race, but he's yet to pit. The only other guys, well, he's the only person out there yet to pit, and he's in the pits now.
Yes, just as Wayne had his spin, there was actually a mad rush, and the majority of people who hadn't pitted took that opportunity too. Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how they work, because we saw a number of guys come in on lap 1, and they'll do that if they feel like they're compromised as far as the traffic goes. And then most of the other guys, they went probably 50% distance, didn't they, before they come into the pit stop. But looking at the pit times, the fastest time we had tonight was Gary Hamilton, 11.6 seconds. The slowest time, though, on the other hand, was... I saw it before, there was a 20.7 seconds to Robert Crouch.
He may have been getting some optimal repairs done there while he was sitting.
And something's happened to Craig Edwards here. I'm just having a look. He's dropped all the way down to 6th position at the moment, and he was up into 2nd up to 1 lap ago. He hasn't come in the pits. No, it looks like he has had to come into the pits a 2nd time.
That's certainly going to harm his race.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that has freed Tim Delisle up, and he's going to see if he can hunt down Gary Hamilton. Looking at their lap times last time by, Tim was the only one in the 132s. He said a 132.759. We'll see what he does this time. And once again, Gary Hamilton 133.119. Tim Delisle a 132.889. So Tim's on the hunt.
Yeah, look, that consistency there, that's what you've got to do in these races. Lap after lap, the same time, and make sure it's fast.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he's doing as we're riding with him now. And I'm trying to get a gap for you here, folks. It's 3.2 seconds, so he's putting in these laps time after time. And the only way he knows he's catching is he'll be no doubt getting that gap called out to him as he goes across the start-finish line. And this is when, if he's got a manager out there, the manager will be coaching him and keeping his eyes forward and trying to close that gap.
That's it. He has nobody behind him that's a threat, so he should be able to just eyes forward, hammer down, and catch that car in front.
Yeah. One of the viewers asked, Christopher Oon asked if Craig had already pitted, and the answer is yes, he did, Christopher. He had done his standard stop, and then the second stop was a quick 1.6 second stop, so I'd say he wasn't happy with some damage on that car possibly, and had to get it fixed, but he's down there in 5th position now, trying to recover from that.
He may have even actually picked up a penalty, Bernie, a speeding in pit lane penalty, and he's had to return back to serve that penalty.
It could definitely have been something like that. I don't know for a fast repair how quick it takes. I'm assuming you just have everything turned off, come to a full stop, and then go again. So once again, this gap, Gary Hamilton did react to that time by his time of 133.151, and Tim Delisle a 133.075. These guys are the only ones in the 133s up the front, but one guy to keep an eye on down here in 6th is Alexander Bird. His time 132.975, and he's now starting to close in on Craig Edwards.
That's it. With Alexander pitting on what was lap 13, his tyres are nice and fresh. You can see he brought them up to 10th nicely, and then that was his first flying lap after the pit.
Yeah, we can see now he's closed right up on Craig Edwards. Craig is battling with Philip Stoneman just ahead of him, and of course this is for 4th, 5th and 6th. Now as far as points go, this is going to be interesting for Craig tonight, because if Gary wins this and Craig finishes where he is, the gap is going to expand a heck of a lot. Just going to have a look at the points. So he will get, if Craig finished where he was, he'd score 30 points, where Gary, for winning, he would score 50 points. So the gap will extend by about 20.
And then taking into account his laps led points.
The bonus point.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Now it's getting interesting, isn't it? We can see the two FSR boys, 1 and 2. So Alexander Bird hunting down his teammate Craig Edwards for that position, and Craig in the meantime, he's trying to get through the 16. Now he goes on the inside, deep under brakes there, makes that move stick. What can Philip Stoneman do? He tucks in, he's going to defend And I tell you what, he must be, oh, there's almost contact there as rocks were thrown up, and now his teammate Alexander Bird goes through.
There can absolutely be nothing more mind-bending than when you're sandwiched in between two team cars, and when that team is Fusion Sim Racing, the pressure would be absolutely incredible for you.
Oh yeah, it would be. It'd be like you're seeing double vision, wouldn't you? And they're ganging up, but which is what they're not doing. But at the moment, Alexander Birds now is tucked in behind Craig Edwards. He's in the tow as he comes across the start-finish line. He's actually lifting, so not confident to try and make him. Oh, he nearly lost it there as the car lost the rear end there. So the car's looking very, very twitchy.
Look, I know as well, Bernie, that being team cars, the last thing he wants to do is make a mistake and take Craig out when he is so far up in the points. I'd say there would be a very, very nervous Fusion Sim Racing manager at the moment.
Oh, for sure, and we can see now, I think someone's had a slowdown, or have they? Philip Stoneman just got a very good run as he went to the outside of Alexander Bird here. I'm just looking at what he's trying to do. He tucks back in now, but he had a better run out of there than what Alexander did. But meanwhile, folks, up front, it's all Gary Hamilton. He's still leading Tim Delisle, but Tim has pulled it back. 1.1 seconds he's pulled back on Gary since we last saw him about 3 laps ago. Looking at the lap times, Tim Delisle 132.885. 133.026. Gary responded with a 132.983. So these guys are just trading blows at the moment.
It is, and last time across the line, the gap was out to actually just over 2 seconds.
Yeah, so Tim's definitely pulling him in, but whether he's going to run out of time or not, I don't know. But I just wanted to have a look at the point standings here to see where Alexander Bird is sitting in the points, because Craig Edwards is actually leading the championship, 127 points, but that with where he is he's in damage control here, definitely, as we see Philip Stoneman now go past Alexander Bird. But yeah, so 127 points. He's going to lose probably about 30 points tonight, which is going to bring Gary Hamilton straight up into the lead by a matter of 3 or 4 points. Looking where Alexander Bird is in the championship, he's way down there in 27th. So I would have suggested that even if he wasn't in this battle with Stoneman, he probably wouldn't have made a move on his teammate, as there's contact and Stoneman goes around.
I believe that Alex actually said sorry to them there, so I think he made a small error, but he's certainly regretful for that.
Yeah, he had a look on the inside there, and he's basically collected Philip in the side there, lifted him up and thrown him around. We'll see if he does a redress. If he does, he's going to lose a number of positions there, but definitely no malice in it. A racing incident, and probably a fairly, it's definitely a racing incident. But meanwhile now, the gaps, these guys blow for blow up here at front, folks. Gary Hamilton 1/10 of a second quicker than Tim Delisle at that time by. 3 laps remaining, the gap is 2.4 seconds. I have a feeling if Gary doesn't make a mistake, he should walk away with this win tonight.
That contact with Philip Stoneman there has caused Philip to actually have to jump back to the pits, and fortunately he hadn't used his fast repair, so it was a very, very short stop for him, and he's back out on track, which is great to see him being able to continue on racing. Yeah,
and if we look at that time, compare that to Craig Edwards, his stop to get that fast repair was 1.7 seconds. Craig Edwards stopped 1.6 seconds. So I would suggest that Craig did have to use his fast repair the second time through. But of course, we're only speculating up here, aren't we, Danny? Because
exactly, and there's also, there's so many factors that can come into it that up here in the comms box, we can only watch the action unless we have a link direct feed to the team manager. We can only surmise.
Oh, there's a car into the wall of champions behind. That's Alexander Bird once again. Heavy damage here as he's taken severe damage. Let's jump back to this replay and have a look. It was right behind Alex McCullough, and no doubt that would have caught Alex's attention as we see the replay, and he just caught the inside there, enough to unsettle the car. We know Alexander was struggling, and the end result is his name is now on the wall of champions. Well, the tyre tread is anyway.
And unfortunately for him, with the wall of champions past the pit entry, he's now having to continue around the track to do another lap with a bit of a crab walk to the vehicle to be able to get that back to the pits.
Yeah, so he might be better off just pulling that thing up and getting a tow, but he is pushing. He's confident he can get it back, and this really comes down to it, doesn't it, whether you can confidently and safely get that car back and not impede other drivers. Alexander's definitely confident and he's continuing around, but we're coming down to the second last lap here, folks. Gary Hamilton is still leading, but that gap is now down to 1.7 seconds. Tim's throwing everything he possibly can at Gary, and I just have a feeling he's just not going to be able to catch him.
No, the race has had Gary's name on it from the start tonight, and no one has really been able to touch him. The work he's done is just fantastic.
Yeah, it's been faultless, hasn't it? It's pole position. He's led every single lap bar the ones that he lost during the pit the window. But yeah, he's been in firm command of this race. Looking further back, Ewan Norolampi is sitting in third, and Craig Edwards now is up to fourth position comfortably. So he's closed that deficit slightly on what he's going to lose tonight, and of course he's in damage control.
Oh, look, he certainly wouldn't be happy from where he started. He has finished in the same place, but we all want to be on that top podium, don't we?
Oh, definitely, and he's just outside it. He can see Ewan Norolampi just ahead of him. Now, the difference in points here, folks, is if Craig can get on the podium, and it's a big if, with one lap remaining here, he gets 3 extra points. So he'd take home 35 points instead of 32 points, where Gary's looking at banking 50 plus the bonus point for pole position, and he gets another bonus point for leading one lap. He also will get another 2 bonus points for leading the most laps. So he's going to walk away with 54 points here tonight if he wins, where Craig looks like he'll walk away with probably about 33, because he did bank 1 bonus point for leading a lap here.
Yes, and there's no way with that points championship so close, Craig is going to leave a happy camper tonight. He's going to be down on himself for sure.
Yeah, because that lead now will swing to Gary. They're only going to be separated by probably about 4 to 5 points once this flushes out, and it's going to be on. But he did come into this with a 19-point lead. But we're on the final lap here. We can see our race leader, Gary Hamilton, now. He's coming up behind Alexander Bird as they come into the wall of champions. He's having a look on the outside. Of course, he can't dilly-dally too much because Tim Delisle is not that far down the track. Alexander steps aside, lets him through, and round 8 of the WANC is going to go to Gary Hamilton in the dynamic whatever that car is, dynamic entry. Tim Delisle, he comes across second and 2.3 seconds down. Ewan Norilampino, he's under attack here from Craig Edwards. Ewan goes on the inside, he steps aside, and Craig Edwards takes third position. So Craig will get on the podium as he took that position just as Ewan lifted coming into the Wall of Champions. Alexander McKellar, he will come home in 5th.
In 6th place. Ooh, there's a lot of action just coming up into the final chicane by the Wall of Champions. They're just coming across the line now.
Yeah, and that's Alex John. We saw him heavily in the wall at the start, didn't we? He just beat out, I was trying to get the name of that, I think it might have been Brock Kremer at the line.
Joseph Falcomato.
Yep, so Joseph was 8th, and we'll go through the full positions very shortly, folks. But looking further down the field, we can see Philip Stoneman. After that incident he was involved with, he finished in 10th position. So, and we'll go through if we had any retirements. Looks like Brodie Whitmore retired tonight. Tim Awima, Mark Pavlovich, Braden Bateman and Wayne Taylor were all in trouble out there tonight.
That was certainly an absolutely thrilling race to watch. And although Gary really couldn't be touched, throughout the whole field there was just action aplenty.
Yeah, certainly was a lot of action there, a lot of strategy playing out, and it was exciting to see how Tim Delisle was just, he was throwing everything he could at Gary. Gary was just trading blows with him, and they were just swapping fastest lap time between them, and that gap was fluctuating. One point it got down to 1.6 seconds, but then Gary put the foot down again, it went out to 2.3 seconds, and that was probably when Tim decided that he had to settle for second position here tonight.
Well, looking at the lap, Gary actually did his fastest lap at 32.7 on lap 22 of the race.
Yeah, and that's throwing it down, isn't it? And that's really telling Tim that this was his race to take. Looking at the fastest lap time though of the race, it looks like that's going to go to Craig Edwards. 1:32.451 was his fastest lap time and the fastest of the race.
And look, he was only just pipped to that by Tim, who did a 1:32.457 on lap 21.
Yep, so close laps there, but lap times there. But let's have a look at the full results here, folks, so you can see where your favourite driver finished. We'll also be able to tell you who the biggest mover and shaker was tonight. So round 8 goes to Gary Hamilton. He led 20 of the 23 laps here, so he will get a bonus point for leading at least one lap. Tim Delisle, he comes home in second position, did not lead one lap. Craig Edwards, he managed to get on the podium there just at the Wall of Champions. He will get a bonus point for leading a lap. He led 3 of them. Ewan Norilampino, he's dropped 2 positions from where he started to finish in 4th. Alex McKellar, he moved up 1 position. He came home in 5th. Alex John, he did a great recovery considering the damage that car suffered at lap 1. He comes home in 6th. 7th, Joseph Falcomata moved up 4 positions. Then we had Brock Kremer finishing in 8th position. 9th, Robert Crouch. 10th, Philip Stoneman, dropping 3 from where he started. Mark Noble up 3 positions to come home in 11th. 12th was Alexander Bird. Even though he had all that carnage going on, he pretty much finished from where he started. So that goes to show the sort of pace he was showing up until he had that bad luck. Les Peck, he finishes in 13th. 14th was Wayne Taylor. Braden Bateman down 7 positions to finish 15th. 16th was Mark Pavlovich. Tim Awima comes home in 17th. 18th was Brodie Whitmore. So looking at those results, the biggest shaker tonight goes to Braden Bateman in the 818, and it was his debut in this car tonight. So, you know, you can't be too hard on the guy. He's gone out there and given it a go, and, you know, he's had fun, and that's the main thing. The biggest mover tonight was Joseph Falcomata, up 4 positions from where he started. He came home in 7th.
And it was good to see that Craig actually made it to 3rd to try and cover that deficit that he would be receiving tonight.
Yeah, definitely. One of the viewers have asked where we're broadcasting from. Yeah, you're right. We are in the new RRTV Discord channel we trialled tonight, but I forgot to tell people where we were. So it's going to be hard for you guys to come up for interviews, that's for sure. But I will correct that, folks. There's been a lot of firsts here tonight, and one of them is hiding away in a Discord channel where nobody can find us.
Oh, look, Bernie, you know how it is. Sometimes we just like to sit in a dark room and rock back and forth by ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna try something here. Let's see what I can do to help these guys out and see if we can get some of them up for an interview. So hopefully some of the guys will be looking at the chat channel and they can come in and we can catch up with them. So, Danny, your thoughts on your first time commentating here on RRTV. What did you think of it all?
Oh, look, I think it was just the perfect race for me to actually do that for, Bernie. There was just action aplenty throughout the whole field. Battle packs everywhere. There wasn't a moment that we actually had to rest to think about this being my first time in the comms box.
Yeah, and it's not that scary, is it? It's only me, you, and all the viewers.
Yes, no, not at all. It went a lot smoother than what I actually imagined it would be.
Yeah, and of course you're going to be backing it up tomorrow night with me, aren't you? Because tomorrow night we go back to Kentucky Speedway for the ANSCAR Thursday Night Thunder, and the trucks, the guys have been practicing, and they've been putting on a great show. And of course you're normally out there driving, but you decided to trade that and come and join me in the combox.
Yes, well, to be honest, the only reason why I really ran the series was a couple of the guys who I'm associated with via the teams on iRacing run in the series. So I would only ever actually go out there to just support them in their race. But sometimes there's bigger and better things to do, Bernie.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it tomorrow night, I'm sure, and you'll probably see it from the racing from a different angle. But one person that didn't see the racing from a different angle, that's Gary Hamilton. We'll bring him up now, folks, and we'll have a chat with him. Hi Gary, welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate, and what a dominant race performance there tonight. You took pole position, you led 20 out of the 23 laps tonight, and you took the win, so congratulations.
Yeah, g'day guys, thank you. Yeah, that it was actually a little bit harder, I think, than what it looked, because definitely wasn't the fastest one out there tonight. Tim was absolutely on fire around this track, so pretty glad to get that one.
Yeah, well, we could see Tim was closing pretty quickly, and it was interesting. It looked like every time Tim would gain a few hundredths on you, you'd respond the next lap. That's how I perceived it anyway. Was that actually the case, or was it you were just focusing on your thing?
No, you're spot on there, mate. Yeah, I was watching that relative like crazy, probably too much. What you probably saw was, you know, paying too much attention to that and making mistakes. So make a mistake and he was catching up, and then just really had to focus to try to pull that gap back out again.
Yeah, and we noticed, well, Danny actually noticed your fastest lap. What lap was that, Danny? Was it lap 22?
Oh, I'm afraid I didn't actually jot it down, Bernie.
It was one of the
do you mean my fastest lap, or?
Yeah, your fastest lap, Gary.
Yeah, it was right at the end. Yeah, so about with 2 to run, I think. You're right. Yep. Yeah,
so we were watching you two trade blows as far as laps go, and we could see Tim was closing in. But after you set that blistering lap, Tim seemed to back off a little bit at that point. So I think that was you just saying, right, you're not going to catch me. Seconds as good as you're going to get tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he made a mistake there. I'm sure he would have been pushing to the end, but who knows? I think it was pretty close on fuel, so he might have been pushing until that. But yeah, I mean, I can't even remember how many times I nearly threw that away when in between the pit stops when we had the sort of the undercut overcut happening. We didn't get to find out if that's going to happen because Craig cut the pit exit, unfortunately. But there was a few moments in there I almost binned it, and then I got comfortable when I saw Tim was 4 seconds back, and then he was 3.5 seconds, then 3 seconds, then 2.5, and I gradually got a lot more uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, of course, Tim came in on lap 1, and we were keeping a close eye on him. And were you aware that he'd come in on lap 1, or was he off your radar at that point?
Yeah, I saw him disappear at the hairpin there on the first lap. I don't know what happened, but yeah, you know what? I probably wasn't thinking about that as much. I should have been, knowing that you do have one fast repair in this race. So yeah, he come in and did that, and I totally forgot about him until I saw Craig come out and then disappear. And yeah, Tim was right there.
Yeah, we weren't sure what happened to Craig, but as you said, he cut pit entry and got penalised. Is that what happened?
The pit exit, yeah, coming out of the pits, he just dropped a wheel over that white line, the blend line, and he got a drive through. So for him to come back to third is pretty awesome.
It was a good drive, that's for sure. He was all the way down in fifth, and we were counting all the bonus points going to you and him and trying to calculate it. And yeah, he got you and Norilampi just before the Wall of Champions on the last lap. So yeah, got himself on the podium. So great recovery drive there. But I'm going to hand you over to Danny Trim here and see if Danny's got any more questions for you, mate.
Firstly, congratulations on the win tonight, mate. You were certainly very, very strong out there. But a couple of questions I have is just to help give our spectators at home a view from the driver's eye around this track. What are sections on it that really get the heartbeat going when you're in that cockpit?
Oh, the one that comes straight to mind, obviously, the Wall of Champions, like especially in the low car, the open wheeler, and the Pro Mazda's quite low, or the wank car, I should call it. You can't spot the apex, and it's really a dangerous spot for not being able to see it, because if you clip it, you turn in too early, especially the first one, that pretty much guarantees you're either going to spin or you're in the wall. That's the biggest one. Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit slow on the hairpin. I could see that, but that's not really a wild one. There's probably you'd be looking at turns 3, 4. You've got to ride the curbs there to be quick, and if you take just a tiny bit too much curb, again, you're in the wall there. So those two sections are pretty difficult.
Certainly can. Now, something you didn't have to worry about tonight, but that can happen, is a bit of aero push with the cars. Absolutely,
yeah. So in practice, we always try to have a little battle with each other or follow someone at least, just to feel, even though it's a fixed set from track to track, it still changes depending on how maybe with the weather or how aero dependent the track is. And yeah, you can definitely get a lot of aero push, and this car is kind of on the understeery side of things as well, so that's very easy. You got to watch out for that one.
Now, I would like to ask you as well, on the opening lap, turns 1 into 2, how busy were your mirrors?
Wasn't too bad. I think Juha was really considerate there. I actually got a shotgun start with way too much clutch, and he got up beside me. Now, having the inside there is good because you can run it in, but you can run it in late, which is what I did. But you kind of need the other guy to work with you. If they can stick around the outside, and if they do that, and you run a little bit wide from the inside, then you're going to come together. So yeah, he was very considerate there, so we got through it.
Oh, it is. Look, as much as we want to beat that competitor next to us, we also have to work with that competitor for the benefit of us both.
Exactly right, Danny. I think it's really good. The guys in this series, they recognise that, been around, and we've raced each other a lot, so they, we know that. So we try the best to give each other room, and got to get through at least the first lap, and then run your race. You know, if you're fast, then you'll be there, and if you're not, well, whatever. But yeah, you got to get through that first turn, or you never get the chance to prove it.
And look, to be honest, throughout the whole field, throughout the whole race tonight, we actually saw a lot of respect from the drivers towards each other.
Yeah, and that's awesome to see. And, you know, I mean, I hope some people are watching and jump on board and have a go, because it's one of my favourite series. Probably the best racing I have is in this series, and I think it's because of, well, the people that are in it, but the fixed set and the car itself just combines to make, you know, really, really good racing. And have people that are sort of considerate and race hard but fair, then, you know, you'll get what you see here, and it's probably some of the best I've done.
Now, just a quick question on the fixed set. Do you find the fixed set suits certain people's equipment, whether it's a load cell brake or that, or do you think it actually totally levels the playing field?
Yeah, I wouldn't really know with different types of equipment. I mean, I know what I've got, and yeah, some better stuff helps you. But I mean, if you're fast, you know, like they say, I mean, you can be fast with the cheaper stuff out there for sure. So the fixed set, definitely, what it does do is people who've got a lot of time to spend practicing and modifying sets, it levels that. So you just get in the car and just drive it, just do laps and just get the best. And you know that it's the same for everybody. So like, it doesn't really suit my style as such. Like, there's a lot of, I have to change the way I drive to suit it, but that is what it is, and you do it, and it's great.
And ultimately, that is actually the sign of an excellent driver, being able to change his driving style to adapt to the vehicle on the track in those particular conditions, with weather, track level, grip, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You see, obviously, you know, all the guys at the top can do that, because some of the times are ridiculously close. So I think we're probably getting the most out of the set.
No, it's fantastic to see tonight, Gary. Job well done.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks, Andy, and thanks for your effort in the combox here. Can't wait to go and have a watch.
Yeah. Before you go, though, Gary, have you got any sponsors or anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, absolutely. So a big shout out there to Dynamic Sim Racing, making all the awesome gear so I can go nice and fast. 12willpower.com, so Will Power with his own clothing line now. He's just got a couple of shirts so far, but I'm sure he'll add to that soon. So go to 12willpower.com, check that out. And Darling Guns Ballistics, big shout out to those guys.
Fantastic. Well, once again, congratulations on your win, mate. The points are going to be very close now, and I think they should be in your favour by probably about 2, maybe 3 points. We've sort of calculated in our heads, and you know us, we'll be totally wrong, and you can tell us that next week.
Yeah, you're building me up here for some disappointment, Bernie.
You know me, that's my job. I like to disappoint.
No, thanks a lot, and yeah, I know it's close, so I'll look forward to checking that out.
Yep, no worries. See you, mate. So, folks, that was our race winner tonight, Gary Hamilton, and once again, he's clawed back that lead, and it's going to be interesting next week, folks, when we go through the actual points to see how close this is, and yeah, it's getting to the exciting end of this championship, Danny.
Totally, Bernie. I think next round it's actually just going to be on for one and all.
Yeah, it's always been between Craig and Gary, and you know they race hard, they race fair, and they're good mates. So it's going to be fun to see how that unravels. But of course, tomorrow night, as I was saying, we're going to Kentucky Speedway for the Ants Car Trucks, and I tell you what, this is one series that is going from strength to strength. It's also a fixed race series, but they're getting some big numbers starting to turn out for the trucks.
They are, and again with the trucks on the tri-oval which we're racing at tomorrow night, the aero that those cars use and rely upon can make so much difference from your finishing positions.
Yeah, and of course you'll be able to tell us all about that tomorrow night, because we're pretty much in your playground tomorrow night in the NASCAR territory, and I think that's probably, is that where you hang out most of the time in the iRacing service?
No, to be honest, I actually use the trucks as my driver training tool. Because the racing is so high speed and close, it really helps you develop your racecraft. My favourite playing field is actually in the old V8 supercar.
Okay, well, there you go. That's how much I know my co-commentator. But how do they go, like training in the truck, how does that then translate to the V8 supercar?
It basically, because the action and the racing is so tightly packed, it teaches you about giving that little bit of respect and that racing room that you have to give to that competitor, which in turn comes back to you when you're both entering those corners side by side. The truck series is absolutely brilliant to teach that. And then you get the other side of it, where you actually have to learn to look after your tyres very well in the trucks.
Okay. And of course we can go through all that tomorrow night, and which we will, no doubt. We'll cover that off because no doubt we'll have a few caution periods tomorrow night where we can go through a few more of the technicalities.
And look, caution periods are actually great for some people who don't need that, because it gives them an opportunity to take a breath.
Yeah, it also gives them an opportunity to try some strategy in pit lane to snatch a few positions if they can.
Exactly. I mean, there's so much comes into it. You take the gamble. Do I just take 2 tyres on the outside? Do I take all 4 tyres? How much fuel am I going to need to get that car home?
Yeah, so it's going to be another fantastic night tomorrow night, folks. So if you possibly can, join us tomorrow night for the NASCAR Thursday Night Thunder and enjoy some very close racing, American style. And then, of course, we have endurance race coming up on Friday night, the Australian Online Supercar Championship, 650k Enduro. It's one of 2, I think it is, for part 2 of this championship. And come and join us from 7:45 p.m. GMT plus 11 for all the action. I'll tell you what, the guys will be pairing up again, so we're not going to have 53 V8 supercars going around, but we will have, I reckon, about 30 at least, because of course, you know, they've got 2 drivers per car. And hopefully I'll have Daniel Leet and Wee Han Chan in the booth with me to call all that action. And that's going to pretty much wrap up the week on... Oh, no, it's not, sorry. Then on Sunday night is the Australasian Super Skips. I'll have Kevin Henderson join me to call the action on that. And that's going to wrap up the week of racing here on RRTV.
Yes, I can't actually wait for that one, Bernie.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, that's for sure. And that's another series that is going from strength to strength. But until then, folks, thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. A big shout out to our international viewers from United States of America and Northern Ireland who said g'day to us in the chat box. And we look forward to your company next time. But until then, folks, have a great Thursday. It's nearly the end of the week, and whatever you're doing out there, stay safe, and we look forward to your company next time. Good night.
Good night.